By sinking onto my right beetle, what will happen is that my skis will track in an arc round to my left. And just like Linford Christie running around the bend of the 200 metres, I don't want to be leaning out of that bend. I want me on the inside of the bend. I don't want to be turning into it, but I want to be just slightly leaning into it. Just that little tiny bit. Now, can you feel that?
Yeah.
It's tricky stuff, isn't it, this? Because it's so small. So small. But this is what excellent skiing derives from. Establishing some flow, letting your skis head off down the slope. What we do is to establish that flow and then to make very small movements whilst in motion. And the outcomes of those movements are anything but small, because they recruit enormous forces from Mother Earth. As the arc develops, they're small at first, but as the arc develops, those forces get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, until in the end, you're having to brace against your ski in order to stay on the inside, in order to keep you on the inside of the arc. That's where we're heading, but this is the very early stages, and it's a case of sinking down, being relaxed, let everything be neutral. And now, what was that you said to me before? Just as we were talking about backs
how
and
it was
bums
difficult to do. It was difficult to bend the back without sticking the bum out in there.
Ideally, well, more than ideally, really, another of the aims is, I was saying you need to have your back sloping forward. You also want it rounded. If looked at from the side, that would be the kind of shape you want to take up. That's not the kind of shape you want to take up. Because if you've got a hollow back, if I hollow my back now, what happens is I tilt my pelvis down. And if I tilt my pelvis down, my thighs won't rotate in their sockets. We won't go into all that, but that's what happens when you're skiing. You want those to be freed up. And if you're like that, you can't. Everything stiffens up, and anyway, it gets painful. Nor do we want to be like that. I remember one instructor saying to me in my very early days, and I forget which country I was in, very early days, he said, no, you need to, he obviously saw me standing like this and he wanted to correct it. So he said, no, he said, no, you need to clench your buttocks and you need to, imagine you are holding a coin in between your buttocks, you see. And I said, what, like this? And he said, yes. I said, I can't walk like this, never mind ski. So if it feels uncomfortable in any way, it's not right. Like Michael Caine said, if it ain't easy, you're doing it wrong. So it should feel fairly comfortable, nice and slouchy and a hollow back. And one way to achieve a hollow back is to imagine yourself, if you find difficulty with it when you're on the slope, and it's all feeling a bit stiff and your muscles are tense and you don't want them to be, just imagine that you've just gone and punch yourself in the stomach. You don't have to do it too hard, but just, like that. And everything begins to slouch when you do that. Even I noticed, I didn't know it was going to happen. Even my ankles and my knees flexed up, and that was it. And that helps quite a lot. So that's first thing tomorrow. That's what we're going to be doing. Making sure we adopt a good ready for action posture every time before we set off, and then we'll be playing with our beetle, tickling our beetle. One beetle and then the next time the other beetle. That's it. Really. I look forward to tomorrow.
This evening it was really good actually, because as Bob mentions, it's not something that you usually do on a normal ski school training session. You usually start out on the slope and you start skiing pretty quickly after being given instructions from one of the coaches.
I think tonight was really useful because I know where to start tomorrow, and already I know that my posture hasn't been correct.
So for today, this evening, it was really important for me to understand the posture that I should be using when I'm skiing. I haven't really been taught what posture I should be using.
And I think having seen what Bob does and the way that he does it, it's really effective being in here, out away from the slope, because you get a chance to really think about what is being taught and the techniques that are being taught. without having to concentrate on the skiing so much, which sounds kind of funny, but is actually really helpful because it kind of reduces down the amount of things you have to think about.